Hi girls, in our last slide we have seen that the trend of the population growth in the world, we have seen that the population is growing at a very fast rate in the entire world. Today we are going to discuss how science and technology help the population growth. Earlier days, initial stage of the earth, that time the growth of the population was very less because that time the death rate was very high because human being doesn't have the proper medical facilities, human being doesn't have the proper economic opportunity. That time nothing was mechanized. But when we have seen that technology has improved over all over the world, the population density or the total number of the people in the entire world increasing slowly. We have seen that when the steam engine replaced the human and the animal energy, and it provide the mechanical energy, it provide energy of the water and the wind. That time also it is the first phase when the population was has started increasing. Due to this, there is an increase of the agricultural and industrial production. And due to this increase in the production, it helps the increase in the population also. In the different medicines against the different epidemics and other communicable diseases improve the medical facilities. Even the sanitization contributed a rapid decline in the death rate. In the earlier days, most of the people used to die in different kind of the communicable diseases. They used to die in different epidemics, so these things rapidly decline because of the improvement of the science and technology. So we can say due to the improvement of the science and technology, the population has increased year by year. Now, population doubling time. We have already discussed about the population doubling time, but then also I am telling population doubling time is a time taken by a population to double itself at a current annual growth rate. In this chart, you can see the different time periods are written and population has written, and the time which it's taken to double its population, it is also mentioned in the exam. This kind of the charts can be provided, and from inside the chart, from inside some questions can be asked, like when first you can see the in which period of the time the population has doubled itself. So you can see in 1650 AD the population was 500 million, but in the AD of the 1804 the it was 1000 million. So it makes itself double in the 1804. How many years it took to make itself double? So in case of this kind of the questions can be there, so they will provide you the chart and they will ask you the questions. Even the short questions also can come. Now see the explanation. It took more than the million years for the human population attain that 1 billion. You can see that 1 billion, it takes the huge years to make the population, but it took only 12 years. It rised from 5 million to the 6 million. There is a great variation among the regions doubling their population. All the countries doesn't have the same rate of the doubling its population. Especially we have seen that the developed countries take more time to double its population compared to the developing countries. Most of the population growth taking place in the developing world where the population explosion occur. In case of the population explosion means it is the highly increase of population. We have seen that the developed countries which is already developed, which having the proper medical facilities, which having the good economic condition, their population growth rate is now not that much high because they have already achieved the phase of the development. But the developing countries like India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, this country's growth rate of the population is very high compared to those developed countries. Now the impact of the population change. What are the impact we have to face because of this population change? The impact is there mainly in the economic sector. Due to the population change only, the increase of the population in a particular area, it always affect the growing economy. because in case of the growing economy, suppose if your population is growing at a very high rate, so it will happen, it because of this growing population only, it will leads to some problems. Because if your population is more and if your country's resource is less, so obviously there will be a disbalance occur, so that is not suitable for your country's economy. In case of the in case of the population explosion, the depletion of the resource is the most serious thing. Because if the population is increased, so what will happen, their demand of the resource will increase, they will exploit more resources, even pollution will occur, so this is another problem. Now the third thing, the deadly different epidemics like the HIV, AIDS, and all in Africa and the some parts of the CIS, that means the Commonwealth Independent States, and Asia have pushed up the death rates and reduced the average life expectancy. This has slowed down the population growth. In case of the different countries of the Asia and Africa and United, like Commonwealth of the Independent States, we have seen that the due to this diseases, their population growth rate has changed. Now the spatial pattern of the population change, the spatial pattern of the population change, growth of the population, it's different in different countries of the world. But it is said in the statistics that the low development countries, or the countries which are not developed, their population growth rate is very high, whereas the developing countries, or whereas the developed countries having a less population growth. So always we can find a negative correlation between the economic development and the population growth. Negative correlation means always the population growth is high if your economic development is less, but side by side, if you are economically more developed, your population growth rate will be low. For today this much only. Thank you so much.